Now, I love hanging out in Pompeii. We were just down at the House of the Veti. Let's go up the road a little bit further out of town to the surrounding orchards, enjoy the beauty, and then let's pop on into this villa. A villa is a large mansion on a working farm, and this villa is called the Villa of Mysteries. It's a name that archaeologists have given this villa because we're not quite sure what was going on in this villa, but it has a lot of mystery. What? Here it is. Now, it did serve as a private residence and functioned as a working farmstead. However, there is a room just over here that has a curious wall painting, so much so that it still remains a mystery today. Here it is. The room is called the Dionysic Mystery Frieze, and it is because this decorative painted frieze that covers 3 of the 4 walls, and then it's a room inside of the villa. The villa itself now carries the name Villa of Mysteries because of this mysterious room, and it is located in the city of Pompeii. We are looking at the central panel here. I'm going to include the link to the Google 360 view so that you can imagine yourself walking in this space. And let's pull out just a bit to better understand how this room is laid out. The figures that line 3 sides of the walls are almost life-size. So imagine yourself in this space looking at these figures that are around the same size as you. The central panel here we believe to feature the god Bacchus, or as the Greeks called him, Dionysus. And yeah, I know, we should be calling him Bacchus, but for some reason, art historians call him Dionysus and therefore give him the title of the Dionysic Mystery Frieze. Dionysic means Dionysus. We could easily say the Bacchus Mystery Frieze. Okay? I'm going to use the 2 words Dionysus and Bacchus interchangeably. They are both the same god, the god of wine. The Greeks called him Dionysus. The Romans called him Bacchus. And we think that that's him right here. And then next to him is Silenus. Silenus is kind of like his foster father. He was an old satyr who took care of the young man. And then the activity that is happening around these 2 men is laid out as if it's performed on this stage or a ledge. It seems as if the figures are all occupying the same ground plane just above us and in this room. The corners of each side of the wall bridge the activity so that we see people acting or activating the space. So we're supposed to read this as one linear shared space and shared time. Most of the figures in this space are female. And this leads us to believe this room may have served as part of a common female, or what am I trying to say? This room served as a ritualistic space for a religion practiced by women and was really common during the Roman Republican period. The ritual was one of worshiping Bacchus, Dionysus, and it was common amongst women because Bacchus not only is the god of wine, but he's also a god of fertility. And if you think about it, fertility in the form of grapes. Grapes are just a bunch of seeds, fertility. Think about ovaries. A woman's ovaries can be described as a bunch of grapes, little bunches of grapes, and the seeds come down into the uterus. So the worship of Bacchus was a common religion among women. And we think this room may have served as part of a ritualistic space for the worship of Bacchus. There he is. Now, typical of Bacchus, he is a young man, strong but a little soft around the belly, and he's usually in this languid pose. You see he's got his grape leaves around him. He's in this languid pose because he's always a little tipsy. I mean, he's the god of wine after all. And then we see these attendants around, and then the activity around these. Oh, look at that. I'm so smart. I wanted to explain Dionysus and Bacchus, and there it is. So Dionysus, the Greeks called him Dionysus, and the Romans call him Bacchus. He is the god of wine, god of vegetation, the god of fertility. He is easily identifiable by wearing a crown of grapes and having some wine, and he is a son of Zeus. Okay, got that? So let's look at the activity happening around Bacchus. Oh, geez, one more thing. We already kind of talked about Dionysus / Bacchus. We were at the Parthenon, and we were looking at the birth of Athena, and we identified this guy. He could be either Hercules or Dionysus. Do you see the similar languid pose of the two of them? That's why historians are unsure to categorize him as Hercules, or he could be Dionysus, god of wine. The activity that's happening around Dionysus brings to mind elements of a ritual because we see a woman being whipped. Whoa! What? Miss Cortez, rewind. Where is this happening? Right here. So there's Dionysus, and then we have this woman who is wearing these wings, and then she reaches across the corner, and we can see a woman whose back is exposed, and she's leaning over another woman's lap as she is taking a whipping. Now, this brings a lot of questions. I know. That is why it is a mystery. We have records of rituals of Bacchus, of women practicing ceremonies in honor of Bacchus, but they are not accurate because they're written by men. And the men were not actively involved or participants in any of these rituals, and they were seen as a threat. The men saw these spaces and these female-inclusive, male-exclusive practices as dangerous. And in fact, by the time that the Dionysic Mystery Frieze was painted, worship of Bacchus by women was seen as was illegal. I know. Okay, I get too excited about all this information. Okay, let's go back to the artwork. Now, in this scene, we can identify Bacchus. He's most likely lounging on the lap of his wife, Ariadne. And if we were to read from left to right, we can almost see the beginning of the ritual to the end of the ritual. Here we see young maidens who are in attendance and bringing together of items. And then as we walk around, we see the presence of Silenus and Bacchus, so they have arrived on the scene. And then as we move, we have the event, or perhaps the initiation into The Cult of Bacchus by this young woman. And then at the end, we have her, or another woman, maybe it's the woman who was whipped, but we have her being attended to and dressed as if to become a bride. So we're not sure exactly what is happening here, but there is a very clear message being presented out to the viewer. Notice how she looks out at us, activating the space. Well, we have lots of questions about what was going on in the scene, and we can't answer those right now because we don't know. We can look and appreciate this as a painting. We have figures who are occupying a same ground plane, a same space. They are set here as if on a stage. Perhaps they are performing these rituals in front of us. There is a consistent use of light and shadow, meaning that nobody is too dark, nobody is too light, and the bodies, rather than floating in some kind of red haze, appear to be in front of perhaps a flat stage set or screen. The distinctive red paneling behind the figures, art historians call it a Pompeii red because it's seen in a lot of paintings around Pompeii. But if we think of it as a background or a stage screen, is this some kind of a performance that we would come into this space and watch as if it is being acted out in front of us? We're not sure, but it is a beautiful glimpse into what other paintings of the Roman Republic must have looked like.